Jeremy, good evening. Nice to see you. Welcome.
How are you?
Running behind, but running hard. Yeah.
Thank you for looking.
Getting some attention. Good.
Oh, so you really did go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we start the meeting, I'd like to welcome everyone and have a information I'd like to read about addressing council this evening for those of you who wish to address council. Public comments are always welcome, and I invite you to sign up if you wish to speak tonight. We have sign-up sheets over here. I will recognize those folks who sign up during the citizens' remarks section of council's agenda. Citizens who wish to speak to council but neglect to sign up in advance may be permitted to address the city council during citizens' remarks and comments agenda item, but only at the discretion of the mayor. When speaking to the city council, I ask that these following guidelines be followed. Number one, once recognized to speak, please come forward, stand at the podium, and for the record, state your name and if you are a resident of Lexington, Virginia. If you want to be contacted after this meeting, please provide your contact information to the clerk. Please make your comments to the council as a whole and do not engage the audience. We ask that you be brief, state your position, and provide facts. Also, please provide written documents or statements and supporting materials to the clerk, Kate Beard, for distribution to the council and the city manager. Debate is prohibited. This is a time for you to share your thoughts and ideas with your city council. Please speak clearly as we want to hear what you have to say. Each speaker is allotted 3 minutes, and individuals may not yield their allotted time to another person. If you represent a group, 5 minutes are allotted, and you are invited to identify the other members of your group who are in attendance. The council or mayor may allow exceptions to these guidelines at their discretion. I remind us all that the meetings of the city council are formal proceedings and are recorded. And remind everyone to please, when you do, council members and staff, as you speak, please pull your microphone close for recording and for the benefit of those who can't hear as well as others. With that, I'd like to go ahead and call the June 4, 2026 Lexington City Council meeting to order. First item of business, if you will all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. Again, welcome. Glad you're here, and look forward to conducting the business of our city. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the agenda. I'm not aware of any changes or modifications, and unless there's an objection from council members, we will approve the agenda as presented. It is approved. Next item is presentations, and the first presentation is in conjunction with the Virginia Municipal League, and If I Were Mayor. There was an essay contest, and we have an award winner with us this evening and family, and like to welcome them. I'll invite up Dr. Kesey, principal of Liberman Downing Middle School, first to offer some comments, followed by Rob Bullington with the Virginia Municipal League. Dr. Kesey, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Anytime we have a student who does well on a regional or state level competition, I feel like it's an honor for our, not only for that student who's done fantastic, but also for our middle school and for our city. And in this case, we're very proud of Kinley, who took the initiative to enter and write an essay for the If I Were Mayor contest. Her teacher, Mr. Galladay, worked with her to prepare an essay that won at the regional level. And so I'm very proud of Kenley and her hard work and her excellent essay. And I'll now hand things over to Mr. Bullington from the VML.
Welcome, Rob. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mayor Freeman, members of council. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes here to recognize Kenley Carter's achievement. I am the Director of Communications for the Virginia Municipal League. So on a personal, professional level, I just want to say that when I find a young person who can write well, it gives me hope that one day, if I can hang in there long enough, my job might get a little bit easier. No, but seriously, Kenley did a fantastic job. As in the past few years, the assignment was to write an essay identifying an issue or a problem in their locality. And then most importantly, to talk to somebody, a parent, a teacher, a friend, could be anybody, and find out what they think could be done to solve that problem or why that problem needs to be addressed. And to use that in their essay and then to talk about whether or not they think that's the best way to solve the problem, or maybe it's something they came up with on their own. And Kenley just knocked it out of the park. She talked about the lack of a major healthcare facility, a large hospital in the area. And she also went one step further and talked to an individual who identified the lack of a NICU in the area that is sorely needed. So real world problems from a real world kid who's doing a really good job. So Kenley, I have this certificate for you, presented on behalf of our executive director and current president, Dwayne Tuggle, who is the mayor of the town of Amherst. And even more importantly, on the back, don't hang it up and call me later and say I forgot to give this to you, is your gift card for $150. And I have a copy of your essay with me and a sticker. You can put it wherever you want for the Virginia Municipal League. So thank you very much. And if I could just get a quick picture.
Yeah,
of Mayor
I was gonna say,
Freeman.
Kenley, as you come forward, and I'll hop down there as well. I just wanted to say I shared this with our local hospital administrator, and his response was very prompt and articulated. It's well done and very insightful about the written essay. He said, it's especially interesting to read this while I'm in a statewide rural health meeting in Stanton. So applying your words and message in the region and as well as the state. So thank you and congratulations. Get some, you can hop in here, Rob, and get some.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, come on.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting, but if you got to go home and enjoy the nice weather, please do.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here. And Steve. Good stuff. Yes, does make you hopeful for the future when you see teenagers engaging in such a way. Next item on our agenda is Minute in History from Eric Wilson. And as he approaches, Eric, thanks for hosting the bikers coming through our city. I hope that everyone was able to clear 56 in good order today and no incidents. And a lot of fun last night meeting Tom Ewing from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I've heard good reports from them. Usually when we hear about a bunch of bikers coming through town, we just straighten up a little bit. But this was a neat group. There were about 3 dozen of them. I'd say about 20 came through the museum. I appreciate Mayor Freeman, Councilwoman Strawn coming and having a chance to visit with them, talk about what the city has provided for our community, our state, our ethical spirit. Through the Sharrows program and other promotions of recreation and also local history in our area. It's part of a longer arc of things. We plan to do some of those rides this fall. So now that you two are on notice, maybe you got some tips. I know I got a couple. We'll see how I apply them. So thanks for being there. This won't be a dive back into history. This is really a quick forecast of some of the things we've got coming up, mostly in the next month. As you all know, because you've been supporting it, we've had a good and deliberate, pretty long run up to what will be, for many communities, a kind of one-off on July 4th. the 250th anniversary of a declaration, but certainly not either the beginning nor the end of a revolution. I picked up recently, I pulled off the family shelf, this bicentennial book. I don't know if any of you all had these in your shelves. This was everything that was happening in America, right? And you've got these sort of contests between Boston and Philadelphia and DC and New York, who's going to do what. And then, you know, Virginia has like one page, and no, Virginia has a few pages, but not as many as you'd think. But in saying this, one of the things that I've learned in my own research about this is that when the bicentennial planning started happening, really under President Johnson in 1964, you know, there's a long build up to that, including a lot of federal funds that led to, in part, the putting of the electric lines below our main streets, a number of civic beautification projects that impacted this community and many others. But there were some problems with that planning at a national level. It's hard to find that consensus and keep that momentum going. And the takeaway for me is that the real success of that moment in 1976 was that things streamed down from being a top-down kind of singular event planning model and fueled out into the committees. That actually came with the leadership of someone who spent his time in Lexington. Senator John Warner was appointed to basically fix the problem. And he had a great quote when he took over, and he said, and there was a shift from a big corporate investment to civic investments, and he said, this bicentennial will be judged not by the number of spectators, but by the number of participants. And I think we've kept our eyes on that prize here in Lexington and Rockbridge and Buena Vista to do that. So let's see how many people we can get to participate in the coming weeks. The civic season, you've heard me mention, is not just a term for the run of holidays now from the federal holiday of Juneteenth up through July 4th. There are broader ones from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I highlight civic season because it's a deliberately youth-driven movement. It's really created by Gen Z, for Gen Z, governed by Gen Z. And I've taken that as a parent of Gen Z and a teacher of Gen Alphas like Kinley, who actually is going to be revising that essay next year for an 8th grade project we do on civic improvements, to get younger people involved in these projects. And we're going to see how that comes. I'll come back to the events on the right. We're filling out. This is one vision of the kinds of things that Youth 250, if you Google Youth 250, you'll see everything they've run from America's Potluck, I've mentioned on July 5th, to all sorts of, you know, wish walls and other kinds of activities that really sing to and speak to a wide range of American generations. Coming up soon on the horizon, tomorrow night, in many ways, our local season kicks off at Nelson Gallery with the Juneteenth Art Show. Project Horizon has been leading the way for that for several years now, with participation of a lot of people of all ages. We encourage you to go. Their title, I Too Am America, is the final line of Langston Hughes' poem, which actually was written 100 years ago this year in 1926, and a staple of our 8th grade curriculum. So we recruited some former students to come and do some poetry readings to kick that off. But it's always a fun event, chance for you to invest in your own walls and your own office places. You find something you like. The 6th annual, I think it's 6th annual Juneteenth now at Richardson Park, will be happening on the 19th. The roster of participants there, as we talked about, is really growing. It's harder to make a flyer now. I've not been involved as directly this year as in others, but you can see here a lot of people are wanting to come here to serve Lexington, both local vendors and others. That's a healthy sign of civic success generally, and of an event that was made happen here. It took a lot of effort to really model and plan that and to sustain that, as your vice mayor well knows. So we hope to see you there as well. Starting next week, Rockbridge Historical Society is partnering with W&L Lifelong Learning. They've got a week-long alumni college that's based around the founders era. And so they wanted to do a couple public-facing events. So we're co-sponsoring a public lecture with them. A professor from Ashland University, Kara Roger Stevens, will talk about Jefferson and the fight against slavery. That's on Friday. And then we're doing a 2-night screening of Hamilton. It's a little unusual, but we figured that having to start at 8 makes that run like about 3 hours. We were going to do 1776. Any of y'all remember that gem of a musical? That runs over 3 hours. So we'll do some little samplers of that. But again, this builds on the Revolutionary Film series we've done. And there's certainly sing-along capacities. We can make sure lyrics get down there. That has become also part of the 8th grade curriculum, those songs and how people quite literally sing America today hold forth. Moving forward on the 24th, Harvard professor Danielle Allen will not be here, but will summon some of the interviews she's done about this book that really grew out of a joint civic project of teaching students at the University of Chicago about political theory and the Declaration, and teaching night students at the University of Chicago that. And her book, which is highly readable, and nicely episodic, very contemporary. We'll be discussing that. I think that's the 8th of these revolutionary books we've done now. To the bicentennial itself, I'll be doing a presentation on the 28th. If Dr. Kesey is still here, thank you again for availing Lilburn Downing as an authentic community space for these kinds of things. We'll be doing that in the community center, a nice intimate space, but we'll get some look backs of 1976 right here and nationally. Spencer Suter just sent me some files that his mom found that in fact of how he was dressed up in his little leggings and such. Frank, I'm waiting for some of yours, though I think you were a little older, but I do have pictures of the covered wagons you remember so well. So that'll be neat, and that sets the stage for what I think of as our hallmark event, and that will continue to add some glow to Courthouse Square. I loved being there on Memorial Day. I really will always think of that event as christening that space. I mean, the ribbon cutting was remarkable in its own way, but to see it really used in that way. We'll have a birthday party there. I've got to figure out who's going to make the cake, but we'll make that a certain kind of civic event too. The idea is to have an open mic. We could call them oral histories. That'd probably keep people away. But to have an open mic and say, what do you, if you're my age or older, you probably remember something about that year. And memories tend to be pretty positive about that event, you've heard me say, in a pretty riven time. Another way to frame it is, what is your birthday wish for America? That's happening on a lot of wish walls around the country. I think an interesting way would be really to throw it to the next generation, the Gen Z generation, the civic season group, and say, what in 2076, if you were here, would you want to have been remembered about 2026? Have we done something substantive here? Or is it just another party that goes paperback into eBay and all these things? I think this can be a good moment of reflection and celebration. We look forward to that. That will follow immediately on the bike parade. That again is part of the bicentennial progress. Here are Mayor and Tom Ewing on the left, the Dean at Virginia Tech who pioneered that project. People on the right, this gentleman, Dan Christensen, he's about 6'6", on bikes going up 56 to Vesuvius. One of the riders, not pictured here, had done the whole transnational ride. And I show those just to say, again, beyond a particular event, this will have legs, it will have wheels going forward into the fall and well beyond. I'll close really just by looking at the continued run of events, but that bottom one, which is emergent, 4-county commemoration, January 1778 to 2028. We talk a lot about that as Lexington and Rockbridge's twin birth, but it's actually part of really a 4-county story when Virginia reorganizes its frontier. And so we have some planning work to do, and I think some interesting possibilities at a government level to talk with peers in Augusta, Stanton, Rockingham, Botetourt. All of those found different ways to arrange themselves in a new state and national quilt. So we got time to do that once we get beyond July 4th. But as Frederick Douglass said in his most famous speech on July 5th, the work of American freedom is not done. So we plan to keep delivering on that. And thank you for your continued care and your audience and advocacy for all these things. Thanks.
Thank you, Eric. Any questions, observations? Very good. We look forward to celebrating with you and continuing a meaningful act of civic engagement.
Man, thank you.
Thank you, sir. And with civic engagement, there's budget. Our next presentation is a proposed fiscal year 2027 equalized real estate tax rate. Jen Bell, take it away.
Thank you. So as you saw in the memo I provided ahead of time, the real estate tax assessment values are in. Overall, the real estate in the city increased 14.1%. And the total taxable value, however, increased 31.9%. So following the Code of Virginia, to equalize the rate so that the tax levy for FY27 is no more than 1% larger than our tax levy for FY26, I have proposed an FY27 real estate tax rate to be 70.4 cents per $100 of value. This figure will actually lead us with a lower than budgeted number for FY27. However, as we've seen over the past several months, interest rates did not decrease as dramatically as we had expected. And so our investment committee has already been trying to lock up investments for FY27 with yields higher than 3.375, which is what we based our budget on. So I believe that the shortfall in real estate tax collections will be made up for by above larger interest earnings than anticipated. So tonight, I would recommend, if council agrees with the proposed rate of 70.4 cents per 100, that we amend the budget appropriation ordinance to reflect that. When that document was first published, we didn't have the real estate assessment in yet. So we just listed our same tax rate that we have here in FY26, the 92 cents per 100, knowing that, anticipating that once we received the assessment, the tax rate would actually go down. So what we published was higher than what we're actually proposing it should be for FY27.
Thank you, Jen. Members of council have questions on that presentation.
Just to clarify, is it correct that the residential assessment increased 37%?
That's the preliminary number that
Uh,
we were given by the assessors, but before June 30th, they'll give us the official number, but we
Okay.
expect it to be around that.
And then is there any concern that, the Board of Equalization hasn't met yet? And if they reduce anyone's assessed values, that we could end up receiving less dollars than previously? I mean, is that a potential, and that we, how is that handled?
There is potential that that could happen, but I believe we'll have all the documentation on any of the appeals before the end of the calendar year. So if we need to pivot and make a change in January, I think we'd be able to do that.
And would this also, just stating what we already know, this would mean that the real estate property tax would not have raised effectively since 2019. This would be another year that has effectively not been increased. We've provided upwards of 25% increases in compensation to staff, inflation, purchased ambulances that have gone up $200,000 each in this time without raising real estate property tax. Okay.
You're exactly right.
Just kind of, again, stating what we all know, but just wanting to put that out there that eventually this streak will come to an end, but this is an effectively since 2019, we haven't raised the real estate property tax.
A lot of the ARPA and COVID funds probably filled in the gap for those years, but that's pretty much, exhausted by this point, right?
There was a good portion of that, but also we saw an increase in our sales, meals, and lodging tax. That was all very significant.
So a lot of, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
in general growth, for instance, developments at Weatherburn being built out, Kendall, Sunrise,
Correct.
Sunrise Ridge, if I'm saying that right, but just the community expanding a little bit as well. So, yeah, good stuff. Thank you for those facts and observations. Other questions for Jen? If none, you heard a recommendation and I welcome council's thoughtful consideration.
We're gonna wait till the budget.
Did you want that now?
I think it would be appropriate probably to do an amendment to the appropriation ordinance when that's in front of you.
Okay.
So defer for a couple minutes until we get to that point in the agenda.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yep. Very good. Thank you, Jen. Next item is a public hearing on ordinance 2026-08, city council salaries. And I'll call on the city manager for introduction.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of months ago, you asked that we do some research on compensation for elected officials in Lexington. We presented that at your meeting in May. I am recommending that we adjust council salaries, as the council salaries and mayor salary have not been adjusted since 2005. So we presented to you in May comparisons of some similarly situated communities in Virginia. And so I am recommending that you increase council salaries. This will be in effect for July 1st of next year. So this is 13 months out effectively. If you decide not to act on this evening, then you would have one more chance to vote on it in June. If we don't act on it until July 3rd, then we'll have missed the window because there are statutory requirements that it has to be done 4 months before an election, which is November 3rd. So this is a window for you to entertain this idea. Councilmember Strawn had raised a question of whether you wanted to contemplate any kind of inflation, cost of living. This is a practice that you can do and bake it into the funding formula, but I don't recommend that just because I find that to be clunky and a little odd. But it certainly is a valid policy choice. The fiscal impact of this, if you do decide to increase salaries, is $27,127 a year. That includes the additional compensation and fringe payroll taxes or payroll expenses on that. Certainly nobody's going to do elected office for the money, but I think there is an equity benefit in doing raising the salaries. There are people who would be more willing to pursue it if it makes up for some of the time that you spend, and you know better than me the time that you spend at various functions, various appointments, various meetings, committee work, as well as preparing for these council meetings and reviewing materials that you have to review in order to make your policy decisions. So I recommend you approve this ordinance after you hold the public hearing, unless we learn something new.
Thank you, sir. Members of council have any questions for the city manager on that presentation? At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing and ask if there's anyone who would like to speak to this topic of an ordinance setting the compensation for the Lexington mayor and members of council. Not seeing anyone interested in speaking on this, I will close the public hearing at 7:28 and ask for council's consideration.
I'll just point something out. My understanding is as of today, only 2 people have filed to run for 3 council seats. I don't know if this solves the problem, but salaries might be something to keep in mind as we move forward in the future, just to whether or not it will make it feasible for more people to do this. And I think the city manager did point that out.
Yep. Does that resemble a motion in
Yeah,
any way, shape, or
motion
form?
to approve the city council salary raise ordinance 2026-08.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote. Ms. Strawn?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler?
I'm going to abstain.
Do you need to state a reason?
Nope.
I think if calling my attorney, did y'all discuss this beforehand? I didn't anticipate an abstention as a candidate. Okay. Customary, if you're here, you get to vote.
Does somebody interested in running have to abstain?
I don't think it should be couched that this will motivate people to run for office. I don't think anyone should run for office for money. I'm going to abstain because I don't want it to be viewed as I'm supporting people running for office because of money.
I would just, to that point, I would say it's unfeasible for the vast majority of people to spend the amount of time that we spend, and for $3,600 a year. So, okay.
I don't want to back up into discussion, but it's not an incentive for people to run. It's kind of compensation, particularly for people who are hourly. It's gonna affect some of your work hours. And so you're getting fairly compensated, meals missed, but sorry, we're in the middle of voting.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Mr. Driscoll. Aye. Mr. Betts.
There, aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. I think it is, you said kind of compensation. I'll pile on and say it is compensation. We have school board that is compensated. We have a general assembly that's compensated. We have staff that's compensated. So it is part of the process that we've embraced, and grateful for council's time and thoughtful consideration on it. Next item on the agenda is consideration of minutes. They were presented to you in the packet. Unless there's an objection, we will approve those as presented. They are approved. Regarding citizens' remarks and comments, we do have one young lady, thank you, who has signed up. And this time I'd like to call on and invite Allison Clark to come forward and speak to council. Allison, welcome. Allison, pull that microphone down so we can hear you good and clear.
Good. Okay. I grew up locally in Vesuvius and graduated from Rockbridge County High School. I recently graduated from Radford University and moved back to the area. I'm pursuing a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling at Liberty University, where I plan to focus on substance abuse counseling and trauma therapy. I'm speaking up in hopes of bringing a methadone clinic to Rockbridge County. I wasn't always this person standing before you now. I suffered from addiction and ended up in a domestic violence nightmare for nearly a decade. I hid it all so well until I couldn't anymore. I had tried to quit with Suboxone and never could be successful on it because it made me so sick. Methadone completely changed my life, and I've been sober for almost 2 years now. I have a little boy who's 1.5 years old, and I would never have been able to get out of my tumultuous relationship, finish school, or pursue graduate school without the treatment of methadone helping me reach sobriety. Not everyone suffering from addiction wants to be in that situation. I hid it so well for so long, but I was so depressed and ashamed and honestly thought there was no hope left for me. I thought I deserved to be in the situation I was in, and I didn't think I deserved better than the abuse I was constantly given. I was so embarrassed to think anyone would ever find out about my demons. Who would have thought that getting my wisdom teeth removed and mishandling a Percocet prescription to get relief would lead me down such a path of despair? I'm proof that people can change and that people suffering from the disease of addiction want to change. Lamentations 3:19-23 says, I remember my affliction and my wandering, the bitterness and the gall. I will remember them, and my soul is downcast within me. Yet this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. Methadone is often preferred for severe long-term opioid use due to its strong ability to block cravings and prevent withdrawal symptoms. A common misconception regarding methadone is that it enables addiction. However, methadone is highly regulated. According to the Beach House in Florida, which is the #1 treatment facility in the state, when someone is on a maintenance treatment program, the methadone they're prescribed doesn't produce the same type of high that's associated with heroin and other opiate substances. The National Institute on Drug Abuse says this is because methadone produces stable levels of the medication and has a gradual onset. It blocks euphoria while also helping to significantly reduce drug cravings. Suboxone offers a more flexible model and could be prescribed via telehealth or standard outpatient clinic. However, despite Suboxone offering lower diversion risks and fewer restrictions on access, patients are more likely to discontinue treatment early. Statistics showed discontinuation rates of 88.8% within 24 months, with up to 25% of patients dropping out of treatment within the first 30 days. On the contrary, methadone treatment boasts approximately 81.5 to 88% of patients remaining in treatment at 24 months, making it highly effective for severe dependence. If we can target the source of the problem by placing people going through addiction into better treatment services specifically designed to aid their disease severity, then maybe we can eliminate crime, overdose, and even death that would otherwise arise out of disparity. I think there's a reason that Roanoke has 2 methadone clinics, and I think Rockbridge County could really benefit from one. Thank you.
Excellent. Allison, thank you for your words and witness and of the circumstances you've endured. And the city manager is one to work directly with, and our community services board, I think, can embrace that. I know you addressed. I talked to the David McDaniel, the chair of the Rockbridge County Board of Supervisors this morning, and I know your words had an impact on him and on the board when you presented to them recently. So thank you for being with us and delivering this message, and look forward to working to see that that goal that you've set as a reality. Wow. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda, and welcome your consideration.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I have a motion and a second. I'd ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn. Mr. Betts. Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries unanimously. Look forward to all the festive events coming up, and encourage people to make note of the dates and the fun and enjoy. Next item is unfinished business, and that's the discussion of and consideration of ordinance 2026-06, an ordinance that appropriates funds approved for fiscal year 2027. And I'll call on Ms. Bell.
Good evening again. Since the last meeting of May 7th, when we discussed the budget, nothing has changed within the budget itself, except for my recommendation this evening that we adjust the real estate tax rate from 92 cents to 70.4 cents. I did in my memo just review the changes that we discussed at the May 7th meeting to keep it fresh in everybody's head.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions from council to Ms. Bell? Would ask for your consideration of the recommendation made earlier and this item of ordinance 2026-06.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-06 with a modification that we set the tax rate at 70.4 cents per $100 of assessed value for real property. The ordinance will establish a budget for the city of Lexington for the fiscal year beginning 1 July 26, ending 30 June 27.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd ask for a roll call vote. Ms. Strawn.
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Betts. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all very much. And Jen, thanks for your good work in making the numbers work and explaining it, and look forward to support from our local periodicals and helping people understand the significance of the adjustment. Their tax payment will change modestly, but not perhaps the 70% that one person told me their tax assessment went up. So taxes will not be increasing at that rate. Next item on the agenda is reports and communications, and we'll start with Airport Feasibility Committee. Mr. Driscoll.
No meeting, so no report.
Very good. Blue Ridge Resource Authority, Mr. Smith.
Blue Ridge Resource Authority has adopted our capital improvement plan and budget for fiscal year 27 with no tipping fee increases.
End of report.
yeah.
Thank you, sir. GL Capital Committee, Mr. Betts, Mr. Ziegler.
So the Jail Capital Committee met for the first time, inaugural meeting. I think we had a pretty interesting discussion. All three localities were represented, and we had a robust discussion around how much of an expansion was needed, the time frame for an expansion. Could possibly we build in a way that if there were to be additions, in a way that maybe a smaller project at first to be structured to be built on over time. We also talked about alternatives to incarceration, expansion of some of the, either the more recovery court or mental health docket, some ways that we could potentially keep the inmate population down. Also, home electronic monitoring was discussed. Sounds like there are some challenges to that. People have to have stable housing, which we all know can be an issue. So a lot of ideas kind of thrown out there. We didn't come to any kind of decision. The sheriff's also proposing an expansion on their office, which may be open to discussion about whether or not that is something that Lexington would be involved with. I know I watched the Board of Supervisors meeting online. It seems that they may think that we are responsible for some portion of that. Whether that or not that's the case is maybe undetermined at this point. But having said all of that, this could be a costly expansion for all localities. I think it's important, at least speaking for, for Lexington, that we make sure we look at, what our debt service is when different projects fall off. I believe Rockbridge would probably maybe doing the same thing and seeing if an expansion is needed, because I don't know that that's definitively been determined, when expansion would be financially feasible and to what degree expansion would make sense to what size facility would make sense based on what resources the localities have.
Excellent. Thank you. Mr.
Yeah, I would
Ziegler.
just add that Nick and I were both there for 3.5 hours. It was a long meeting and a tour. So we appreciate the jail staff giving us a tour. We learned that yes, the sheriff has conceptualized a new office that would be about a 28,400 square foot sheriff's office that would need to be built first per this plan. To put that in perspective, that is about the size of Washington Lee's Founders Hall that they're building. That's the same size. And so the sheriff's office would need to be built first. And then that would allow the jail to expand into the existing sheriff's office. And then another expansion of 23,000 square foot, a two-story portion would kind of connect the existing jail to that 28,400 square foot sheriff's office. So that would all be sited on Greenhouse Road, is what we discussed. It is true that the presentation that we received, the first domino to the whole thing is that if the county would like to build their sheriff's office first, it is their sheriff, so it would not have a contribution from the city. If the jail were to be expanded, the state would pick up 25% of the cost. Had we expanded the jail about 10 or 15 years ago, the state would have picked up 50% of the cost. If we were to expand the jail, and some of the estimates are that it might cost $50 to $75 million to do so, the sheriff's office would be a separate that the county would spend their money on. The city of Lexington would be responsible for 21% of the cost, the county 61%, and Buena Vista 17%, because the allocation for construction is based on population. The operations and maintenance is based on population of citizens in the jail, which Lexington normally has a pretty small population of inmates. And so our costs for operating the jail would be significantly less, but we would pay 21% of the construction costs. What we didn't discuss of a much enlarged jail were the operations and maintenance costs of it. Existing now are 55 full-time employees of the jail. We're not sure if the jail were to triple in size, if they would need more staff. And that would obviously have a cost to the localities. So it was a really educational meeting. I think that the ball is completely in the county's court because the sheriff's office is the first domino per that meeting that we had on Tuesday, the 12th. We meet again on Tuesday, June 9th. Obviously, we know that the sheriff's office has not been on any CIP for the county. We also know that the county desires to build a $15 million rec center on Greenhouse Road and do a $25 to $30 million high school expansion on Greenhouse Road. This would, kind of put upwards of $100+ million of new investment on Greenhouse Road if we were to pursue this as the county is conceptualizing. So I think the city, we stand to offer good ideas. Having Nick on the committee talking about alternatives, having a new jail superintendent will talk about some great ideas to alternatives to incarceration, but we're definitely going down the path of waiting for the county to make a decision on the sheriff's office before we can truly focus on the jail, it appears. And so that's why the county discussed this a week ago during their Board of Supervisor meeting, and we'll wait to kind of hear if they're going to put the sheriff's office on their CIP on June 9th. Maybe we'll get an answer on that. So great meeting back on the 12th.
And just one more thing to add. I think in this whole process, it's going to be important to think about how much is our population going to grow for the region, in the sense that, when would we need this jail expansion, if at all? Because if the population's not going to substantially, it may grow some, but if we can kind of fill the gap currently with some of these other alternative programs, a smaller expansion or no expansion at all may be necessary.
Mr. Smith.
What's the current square footage of the sheriff's office now, and I guess the jail too? And I'm trying to get a relative change of scope for both projects.
The existing building is approximately 29,360 gross square feet. I'm not sure what the sheriff's office is. The sheriff's office is obviously, conservatively, I'd say it's 20% of that or 18% of that. I think generally the sheriff's office has a handful of civilian employees, they're detectives, so they may have 10 to 15 employees in that space daily. Obviously, a lot of their time is spent patrolling in the county.
And they're saying the sheriff's office has to be considered because that's the only place you can put the jail?
That question was, we did bring that up and it was quickly answered yes, essentially.
Not very good design. There's other options.
I think, I guess it seemed like, the push was towards building everything out where it is, but it was, I guess, I don't know if it was final that's where it needs to happen. But it seemed like that was the recommendation.
Is that coming from the architect?
No, it was coming from the existing sheriff and the former sheriff. And so you're exactly right. We did bring up to say, wow, you need 28,400 square feet in this location. It's a large county. Does it make sense to, can you have a sheriff's office in the northern part of the county as a satellite office or one in the southern part? Yeah. Again, I'm not in that field, and we were told no. I was told no, that couldn't work. So what we're waiting to learn from the county is if they wish to put a expensive sheriff's office on their CIP, and then they would work out on that, and then I guess then the jail committee might.
And I don't know though if any of the other jurisdictions specifically said that they felt that it needed to be there, but I do think that was like, I don't know the supervisors or the representative from Buena Vista City Council said they definitively thought it needed to be on Greenhouse Road. So I think the answer is, I guess that's still up to determination.
Is the existing jail overcrowded?
Significantly overcrowded,
It was
yes.
designed from the get-go.
Right. I remember that from previous discussions. So
They're really at capacity now. And so one of the things that came up is, sometimes they have to, put people other places or find a place for them to go. I think, they send people to other facilities once they reach a certain capacity level. And it seems like they are right on that capacity level many months. So that's kind of, it's at a tipping point right now to where if, maybe some alternative programs can develop, and if our population growth doesn't explode, maybe, it's not an immediate necessity, but if we have a large population growth where we would end up possibly having more people incarcerated, or, we don't develop these other programs at a quick enough pace, they're pretty much at capacity right now.
Well, thank you all for being a part of that committee and for that report. And look forward to your work in the days ahead. And I just have my daily prayer and hope that people will behave themselves and we won't have the need for a larger jail. But again, thank you all. Next item is Main Street Lexington. Mr. Smith.
Main Street Lexington is receiving a milestone award from Virginia Main Street. This award is for reaching $20 million in private investment, completing 250 plus building improvements and 15,000 volunteer hours during Main Street Lexington's history. The milestone awards are being presented at the Virginia Economic Developers Association summer meeting in Blacksburg next Wednesday. The event coincides with Main Street's Retail Roundtable, which the director will be attending, but Marion Williams will make the trip to Blacksburg to accept the award on behalf of Main Street. Speaking of the Retail Roundtable, Tom Carroll and Jeremy Franklin, our director, will be co-hosting this Retail Roundtable in the Washington and Lee Community Meeting Room at 2 South Main next Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. We're getting Main Street's getting ready for the Freedom Food Festival and the Children's Bike Parade event approval that we all just made. The Freedom Food Festival Committee has coordinated with Police Chief Dahl to adjust the DORA footprint so that it will now include the palms and sweet treats. The Economic Vitality Committee has been working with City Manager and Planner Glazer to design some preliminary physical wayfinding signage that would direct visitors off Main onto Washington, Nelson, and Jefferson, et cetera. If you recall, we attempted a QR code project in the past, but it didn't fly as high as we would have hoped. Lastly, Clover has moved up the street and we're still waiting for the official opening for Lexington Bike Shop. That's all I have. Any questions?
The signage, what are they looking at? We were looking at putting stickers on light posts and.
I don't have that information.
Did I hear you correctly? In Main Street Lexington was founded 2012, I believe, and they have $20 million in development.
Private investment.
Private investment. Very good.
I can double check that figure.
Just a big number. But
I would have thought it'd be higher. Because we've had a ton.
We have been under construction in downtown Lexington since about 2000. Without a doubt. Fantastic. Well, congratulations to Main Street Lexington. And any questions for Mr. Smith? Wonderful. Planning Commission, Ms. Strawn.
Sure. Planning Commission met on May 28th and we approved a certificate of appropriateness for exterior improvements to the Nature Conservancy at 517 East Nelson Street. And that's where Buddy's True Value Hardware used to be. And then we continued our work on the zoning text amendment for residential planned unit developments. And then at our next meeting, next Thursday on June 11th, we'll have a public hearing on the comp plan.
Excellent.
That's all I have.
Any questions for Ms. Strawn? Regional Tourism, Mr. Betts.
Just a few things to note. Regional Tourism will be here on June 18th to make a presentation to Lexington City Council. On June 16th at the Hampton Inn, or at the Hampton Inn Hotel, there's going to be a meeting with Regional Tourism. The first part of the day is a hotel GM meeting from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. and then from 10:30 to 12. All tourism partners are welcome. With the PR firm that's working with tourism is going to be there. And we also went over round 11 tourism event sponsorships. Announcements on those will be forthcoming.
Very good. Thank you. The general manager, those will be general managers of all the hotels in the area.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Good to hear they're getting together and comparing notes. Thank you, sir. Raro, Mr. Ziegler.
The Aurora Board of Directors met yesterday. We are basically concluding spring sports and doing registration for fall sports now, but something I consider exciting, and again, put a lot of credit to this group here. Our Brubaker complex is just really quality. And so we are hosting a majors invitational tournament right now for 4 days. We're then hosting 5 days of softball teams, June 8th through 12th, which would be 8 and under, 10 and under, and 12 and under teams. And then we're going to host a minors baseball invitational for all-star teams, June 15th through 19th. These are a ton of teams coming here, not necessarily spending nights in hotels because they're more regional teams, but they're definitely going to be spending money at restaurants. And quite honestly, it's keeping our all-star teams local and saving our families from having to travel to Harrisonburg or wherever it might be. And so that's a bonus. But it's really because of our scoreboards and our baseball diamonds, our dugouts, the pavilion. I mean, it's just a really good facility. So I thank this group for continuing to move Brubaker Complex forward. We're offering pickleball 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday. So if you like pickleball, there's opportunities to play competitively, beginners, all kinds of opportunities. And those are indoor, but we also will have outdoor pickleball. I've mentioned before that we have 19 co-ed softball teams that I'm really proud of. I'm also proud of the fact that we have 80 kids signed up for our intro to volleyball that it's occurring now. And for the first time since COVID, we are offering an intro tennis program again through Rockbridge Tennis Association. They RTA kind of leads on that, and we have 50 kids signed up. So again, great to have that offering in the community. The country club, Tribrook, reached out to Raro and would like to partner on a fundraiser. And so we're working through that, what that will look like. But if we can launch that fundraiser, we would hopefully have proceeds go toward Camden Field in Buena Vista and provide some really good upgrades to that facility so that is on par as what we have in Lexington. It's just the more diamonds that are quality, the better for our kids. We're excited that our executive director, Chad Coffey, is working with Dr. Alt, the superintendent of Buena Vista City Public Schools, on an MOU that would provide Raro access to some of their facilities. That MOU hasn't existed before, and that's a really positive development. So we're excited about that. Raro is participating in the Rockbridge Outdoors Festival that's coming up on June 13th at Glenmorey Park. And our executive director also participated in the government roundtable sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce back on May 19th. And that was held at the Timber Frame Pavilion at Brubaker, and about 15 to 20 community members attended that. So couple more things that you will want to know. Lexington Moose Lodge has stepped up again to support a scoreboard at Sechrist Field in Buena Vista. So we are appreciative of Lexington Moose Lodge. We are appreciative toward Travis Patterson, who works for the county sheriff's office, but is also a board member. Travis reached out and determined that the lights that were used at Rockbridge County's football field, because they've been going through some changes, those lights were delivered to Mace Field in Fairfield at that baseball diamond that Raro has also improved a lot. And we're going to try to work with potentially a local power company to get poles and to install those lights at Mace Field. And so if you don't ask, things don't happen. And so I give a lot of credit to Travis Patterson and Raro, and obviously Joey Jones is always pushing forward good things at Mace Field, and Bob Day from the supervisors. So I am appreciative of that. We also have a volunteer named Benji McCown, who's been working a lot at Mace Fields to improve the dugouts and the benches, and we appreciate that. So just kind of wanted to uplift a couple of those good things that we're taking the lights from Rockbridge County and trying to reuse them in the county for RARO and for youth sports. So thank you for indulging me. I can answer any questions.
Members of council have any questions? I would just suggest that Pete Brubaker would be very proud of the activities and the fact that that has been maintained well and is continues to be a premier place for competition, which is what Coach Brubaker was all about, competing and developing youth for the future. So thank you very much for all the good work. I was going to say also the umps that call the balls and strikes for RARO.
We've had a great year of volunteers and part-time staff that do umpire,
Mhm.
that do coach, and make it all happen. Because you're right, the umpires have to be there, coaches have to be there,
Yeah.
and the family's got to get their kids there. And so we thank the parents also.
Yeah.
It's been a really good spring.
Good teamwork. Next item on the agenda, threshold.
We unfortunately were not able to hold a meeting. We lack quorum. So we had some notes but we weren't able to take any action on anything.
Conversations, but no action.
Conversations, but no action was taken.
Terrific, terrific. Thank you all for your good work with Threshold, and we look forward to future endeavors. Under my report, just a couple of things. Let's see here. First, for appointments and authorities, thank you, Kate, for providing clarity to the calculus of the many boards and commissions and different times of expiration of terms and things of that nature. But I'd like to bring forward for council's consideration. Again, there's a term, or well, let me back up. Want to express great appreciation to all the people who serve on our boards and commissions. We're a stronger community and much more successful community because of the engagement with our neighbors. So thank you to the citizens who volunteer their time to serve on our boards and commissions. The Architectural Review Board has a term that will be expiring June 30. And Michael Perry has indicated that he would like to assume that from the alternate position and be the permanent position for a term expiring June 30, 2030. And I would welcome council's consideration of that, of his application.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, would ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Betts. Ms. Strong. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. With Mr. Perry's alternate position vacated, would like to bring forward the name of Donna Schick, who applied to fill that seat with a term ending June 30, 2028, and ask for council's consideration.
So moved.
I think there was a second on the end. Thank you. Roll call vote again. Ms. Strong.
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Betts. Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. And then for the term, Barbara Crawford, the other alternate. Barbara's been a terrific ARB board member. She's been doing quite a bit of traveling, and I wanted to bring forward the name of Stephen Lowe as the alternate that will serve with the term ending June 30, 2030, and ask for your consideration.
So moved.
Second.
Kate, you getting all that? Excellent. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Mr. Betts, Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Strong, Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll,
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries. The next, we have the Local Board of Building Code Appeals, a 4-year term expiring June 30, 2030, and we have Keith Holland who'd like to continue in that role.
So moved.
Got a motion and
Second.
second down on the end there for Mr. Smith. Roll call vote, Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn. Ms. Alexander. Thank you all. I'm going to skip over EDA for just a moment. Rockbridge Regional Library, 4-year term expiring June 30, 2030. Mary Jo Brinkley to be considered.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Motion carries. Maury Service Authority, 4-year term expiring June 30, 2030. We have Mary Beth
So moved.
Second.
and a roll call vote. Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn. Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Next, the Planning Commission, 4-year term expiring July 31st, 2030, and Shannon Spencer.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Strawn, Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Thank you all very much. Threshold Housing Commission, Sasha Golubov, for a term expiring June 30. It's a 3-year term, expiring June 30, 2029.
So moved.
Got so moved in a second here.
You
Kate-
need it, sir?
Kate's got him. So roll call vote. Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll,
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn.
Aye.
Mr. Betts, Ms. Alexander. Thank you. Going back to the Economic Development Authority, we have two seats rather, that expired May 1st. We had applications from Dennis Ayers, Tom Contos, Lisa Soltis, and Stephanie Wilkinson. Lisa's been living in the community for quite some time, as I think I share with most members of council. She was in the Economic Development Office of Roanoke, Virginia, and excited for prospects. She's been speaking with the city manager about working in a consultant role and removing her from consideration or her application. And with Mr. Ayers and Mr. Contos and Stephanie Wilkinson had talked to the candidates and wanted to bring forward the names of Dennis Ayers and Stephanie Wilkinson for council's consideration for a 4-year term expiring May 1st, 2030.
So moved.
Second.
Do we vote on them as a pair or do we vote on them procedurally? Matter.
It's your pleasure. Prefer to bring them together if that's okay. Any other discussion? Excuse me, Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander.
Aye.
Fantastic. And there's one other that's not published here, and that would be the Board of Equalization. As you know, we approved earlier adjustment in our tax rate because we've been through the assessment. And as Mr. Ziegler capably pointed out, we have a Board of Equalization for folks who do not agree with the assessor's assessment. And there's a board of citizens who hear those appeals. They serve a 4-year term that I believe would expire 1-year term. We'll clarify that and get the end date. But I'm elated to bring forward the names of Camille Miller, Mr. Allagood, and Tom Contos. They spoke with all of them and they have agreed to serve in that very important role and bring their names forward as a group for your consideration.
So moved.
Second. I just have a question. My recollection is there is a training they go through. Is that right?
That is correct. I don't know the official details, but there's an education for these folks because of the role that they play and the significance and the legal components associated with it. They do have specific specified training that they will receive before they hear from the first or any folks that sign up to appeal their assessment.
Thanks.
And that's part of the importance for getting them installed now for very good. Excellent. So ask for yes, sir.
And I'm just gonna, I will double check. It might be like the Board of Zoning Appeals that we have to make a recommendation to the circuit court, so.
Okay.
I will double check.
Everybody hear that in the peanut gallery? It may be that we make a recommendation to the local judge and the judge actually appoints these folks in that role, but city attorney will make sure that we are legit. So welcome council's consideration on those three names. Did we already vote on it?
Gotta do roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion, second, discussion. Ready for roll call or any more discussion? Just a lot of appointments. So we're making up for lost time here. I appreciate your indulgence. Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Betts, Ms. Strawn, Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Thank you all for your prudent and thoughtful consideration of these folks. We are, again, a very, very rich community with talent and grateful for all the people that are willing to participate and make a difference in the quality of our community. Relative to my report, in light of Ms. Clark's presentation earlier, I'm reminded of a Winston Churchill quote that success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. As we go about our work and we go about our lives each day, it's important to think about folks that have these struggles and where we grimace about expensive jails and sheriff's offices and other public safety. Always have to keep in mind and continue to have the courage to continue with each day. I was had the privilege of welcoming the Youth Equestrian Development Association at the Virginia Horse Center this morning, which is why I'm wearing my boots and my hat from my gift from my children who live in Texas. But the big piece of this Youth Development Association is representative of 120 children from elementary, middle, and high school from all over the country, and the significant impact that horses have in people's lives. They recognize that the barrier to entry cost-wise is substantial, and so they've partnered with stables and universities and students. About 50%, what I heard them say is 50% of the people that participate in this development association do not own horses. They work with the stables and the colleges and have access as members of the association. And fascinating, the children will get on the horse. They don't bring their own horse. The different schools bring the horses. It's a random draw, and the 120 riders have, I think it was 400 different horses that will be drawn. And so they've never seen this horse, never rode the horse, and then they're judged on their performance as a rider. Fascinating, and encourage you to step out to the Horse Center, experience it. Saturday night will be the YIDA prom. I don't know exactly what that means, but I think students and horses will be dolled up, and a good time will be had by all. So thank you all for your thoughtfulness with the work that we do here in our community and the organizations that are in the greater Lexington area, like the Horse Center. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the city manager for the two items under his report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Just the first item is before you tonight for your discussion. It's not before you for action, but as you may recall from the memorandum, I'm recommending that we do a appropriation at your next meeting, sufficient to provide all city employees, full-time city employees, a $1,500 loyalty bonus. The bonus would be from FY 26 surpluses as well as savings that we now can calculate from our open enrollment process. As articulated in the memorandum, there are several compelling reasons why I think this is important. First and foremost, I think as you know, the health insurance increases that our city employees experienced, we had a 25% increase in our health insurance premiums. And so it was simply shocking for many of my coworkers when we phased out the most expensive plan and increased premiums significantly in our traditional plan and incentivized employees to go to a high deductible healthcare plan. So there's still just a lot of ways in which that is a big adjustment for our employees. And so I think now that we know what some of the savings are going to be from our FY 27 health insurance premiums as a result of the employees responding to that, it is appropriate to share some of those savings with our hardworking employees. Overall, the budget that you have adopted provides city employees a 4% cost of living increase, with the exception of those employees who make below $19.88 per hour. Everybody's wage will go up to $19.88 hour or more, which is the living wage policy. School employees, as you may recall, are receiving a 3% COLA and a 2% bonus, and this is all based on the state budget being adopted, which it hasn't been adopted and is not expected to be adopted until later in June. It's hoped that it will be later in June. And so this additional loyalty bonus is functionally equivalent to a 2% bonus. It varies a little bit. It's a greater percentage for employees on the lower end of the pay scale and a lesser percentage for employees on the high end of the pay scale. But generally, it's an average of a 2% bonus. Because the school employees are receiving a 3% COLA and a 2% bonus, I'm recommending that we add 1%, which is about $740 as calculated by Aaron Gregg from Lexington Schools. So this will keep city employees and our school employees at about 6%, although it's a slight difference in terms of the combination of COLA versus bonus. And this is important because like everybody, our employees are experiencing pressure at the gas pump, at the grocery store, health insurance, consumer goods, and so forth. And then finally, I think it's important that we do something to demonstrate how much we appreciate our employees, that we've heard concerns about their costs, including healthcare, and we're trying to help them make ends meet in a rather tumultuous economy. The net fiscal impact of this to the general fund is $267,000. So that's a sizable amount of money. But we forecast have $400,000 of savings or revenue in excess of expenses in FY 26, and we calculate the $130,000 of health insurance savings over the budget that we just adopted. So we're effectively giving back to employees about one out of every $2 that we are saving through the two fiscal years that we can calculate right now. So it's not a small amount of money, but it is still the taxpayers are getting one out of every $2. Employees are getting one out of every $2. So I plan to bring this forward to you for your consideration at your June 18th meeting. Tonight would be the night for you to redirect if this isn't something you want to do, for you to correct or suggest some other approach or tell me not to bring this forward. I should point out that I think RARO did discuss this at their meeting yesterday, and we are the fiscal agent for dispatch, RARO, and tourism. As I articulated in the memorandum, RARO and dispatch also have health insurance savings in FY 27. So those governing bodies can consider doing the exact same thing of a $1,500 bonus with that FY 27 health insurance savings. And Jen Bell confirmed that tourism is expected to have a surplus in FY '26. So all three of those entities that we are the fiscal agent for could do the exact same thing if their boards decide to do that. Happy to answer any questions that you may have about this proposal.
Thank you, sir. Members of council have any questions?
Just a thought. I think that this is good in the sense that at a time when the cost of living is rising for a lot of people, it's important to have, first of all, employee retention, which is good for the city, right? Because this shows employees of the city that they're valued. So I think from not having to retrain people, from a continuity perspective, I think this is really good. And then just from, the city as an employer perspective, I think at a time where we've made some changes to the healthcare, it's good to give some back to the folks that are employed by the city related to healthcare. Well, it's not related to healthcare, but to maybe offset some of those changes.
Absolutely. One big, strong team and working together. As I've told the city manager, no one likes the message that we got when we received a 25% increase in healthcare. And there's no easy way to deal with that. And really proud of the work that staff has done, and then the response from the frustration we completely understand, but folks continuing to show up, work hard, and do a good job. So it's greatly appreciated, the teamwork and cooperation. And I think this, as you point out, and the city manager points out with his words, is a positive thing to do. So I don't see any objection from members of council, and we'll wait until further notice to take action as is appropriate.
And I'll just though appreciate the cooperation with the school system, that we're able to work together with Aaron Gregg, Rebecca Walters, and the whole school board. I mean, I think we shouldn't take that for granted, how well we work together and we partner with them. And so a surplus can be shared to take care of what makes Lexington great, our school system also. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just a couple of other comments for the city manager's report. Thank you to all of you who were able to attend the tour of the city hall this evening. It's coming along quite well. The projected substantial completion is still September 24th, but we are going to do some additional work on landscaping. And in the next month, we should have a better, more definitive schedule as to when the project is going to be completed. This will be important because we'll start to plan for the relocation back to the facility from the three city offices where people have been operating from temporarily for the last 14 months, as well as a rededication ceremony for the community, to invite the community to see their city hall, and we're preparing for that. So I'm anticipating that relocation and dedication will happen sometime between the end of September and Thanksgiving. So just anticipate that. Staff is preparing for some upcoming meetings that we have with our colleagues from Rockbridge County. The meeting stems from the Morse Creek Agreement, and particularly I'm talking about sanitary sewer here. So we're doing some research on our sewer capacity, wet weather events, in preparation for those meetings, and I'll be happy to keep council advised as we further flesh out our sanitary sewer model, and understand better the investments that we have made in lining our sewers, upsizing our sewer mains, and so forth. I only wanted to add a little bit to the discussion that Mr. Betts and Mr. Sigler had regarding the jail capital committee, and point out that this week we had our first meeting of RISPA, which is a group of multiple stakeholders in the criminal justice space and in the therapeutic space, community services space, that's looking for ways to serve the community by minimizing the amount of individuals that need to be incarcerated, and providing more effective community-based alternatives. So this involves law enforcement, Commonwealth's attorneys, community service board, a variety of workforce development leaders, jail staff, and many other stakeholders. Just a quick frame of reference, this group formed in 2021-22. And at that time, we were over capacity, and we were routinely spending about $800,000 a year on contract bed space. That number's now down to $50,000. If you put a fiscal impact on that today, we would be spending about 1.9 million on contracted bed space on a $6 million budget for the jail operating. So this committee's work previously has saved the taxpayers considerable amounts of money, and we're hoping that we can do similar work to find alternative treatment and alternative support for those who need those services. And I wanted to follow up with one final thing regarding the jail, because it has been in the newspaper, but I simply wanted to point out that it's been a privilege to work with the colleagues on the jail commission for the appointment of Wayne Hanley to be the next jail superintendent. Wayne will start sometime on or before the end of August. And I'm so excited about working with him because of his unique combination of law enforcement and therapeutic counseling. He's just got a special blend of skills that I think is the right man for the conversations we're having around the jail expansion and alternative dockets. I'm pleased to say that Derek Elmerod, who has become a friend of mine, is going to continue to serve in his role as jail superintendent until Wayne starts. But Wayne is, of course, finishing his service with the city of Buena Vista as their interim city manager. My understanding is they're interviewing candidates for the city manager position at the end of June. So we'll have some clarity in early July if they're able to find the right fit for that position. So happy to answer any questions about any of this material or anything else.
Thank you, sir. Members of council have any questions?
No question, but I appreciate, Tom, putting some actual numbers on what alternatives there are to keeping people out of the jail and an actual cost. That's significant. And listening earlier to the presentation on the committee, it's, that question comes up, well, if you're overcrowded, how much are you overcrowded, and how much do you need, what do you need to do to reduce that? But then it's on the margins that you can really have significant impact if, say, 10 to 15% diversion, and that makes a difference. That's,
And just to follow up on that, I mean, rehabilitation is one of the important facets of the criminal justice system. And it also has like an economic impact, not just on cost savings from the jail, but also to people working and contributing to the community if they're able to do, work release or be working while they're doing some of these programs. So there are other benefits to looking to that alternatives to incarceration as well.
If I may, I said I was done, but Mr. Betts's comment reminded me of something. I'm working with the jail and with a couple of economists at BMI to look at the jail population recidivism rates. It's nice, I think, to have academics who are data analysts and data experts look at this. And so we have a fresh set of eyes from a different discipline, developing a cost benefit analysis of the recovery court, and that will inform discussions about other alternative dockets. So that work is ongoing, and I don't think I've mentioned it much, but it's pretty interesting to work with economists.
That's great.
Oh, definitely. I would just follow up your report with a couple of observations. Number one, regarding the dam discussions, Leslie and I will be representing you, and we have our next meeting scheduled for the 16th of June to meet with our peers in Rockbridge County. As Tom mentioned, the topics being sewer and also the location of the Rockbridge County administrative offices. And a big thank you to Tom for organizing the City Hall sneak peek. It was great to see the progress and to spend time with Jason and Barbara and to meet David Wall, the owner of Wall Construction. There were different times for people. Don't know what conversations you all had, but one of the things that I mentioned to Patrick is I know that some of the materials have already been ordered, but one of the things we hoped to accomplish was to renovate the old building and use as many of the old materials. The storm windows over the old windows look fantastic and are incredibly energy efficient from what David was expressing. As you walked up the steps and the landing there is what the finished wood looks like, and was suggesting that Patrick work with the architects to take a look at, instead of putting laminate down in the hall in many places, to see about refinishing the floor. So don't know what'll come of that, but made that observation and modest request. Not trying to delay the project or add any cost, but simply to follow through on using the materials, much like repurposing the lights at Rockbridge County High School to Mace Field. So didn't get a chance to have that conversation with everybody, but doing so now. And last, at lunch today, I was stopped by a member of the Kendall board. A couple people were having lunch, and they wanted to express their gratitude to the city for hiring Tom and for Tom's presentation. I think it was basically a conversation about housing in our community and extension. Very, very intriguing information and captivating for the folks, the residents of Kendall that received the presentation. So high praise for the material and the presentation, which it's always great to hear that your staff and partners are doing a great job. So, and with that, I will call on the city attorney for his report.
I do not have a report for council tonight, Mr. Mayor. I will say, though, I did check on the Board of Equalization, and we do have to file pleadings with the circuit court, so we'll get that done.
Terrific.
Post haste, so everything's squared away for that. So
Very good.
happy to answer any questions anyone may have about any ongoing matters, but really nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Any members of council have any questions for the city attorney? Sure you don't want to give a longer report since we're going to be talking about city attorney's compensation.
Performative in that regard.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Under new business, 15.1, consideration of resolution 2026-11, resolution concerning the city attorney's compensation and certain related actions. I'll call on the city manager to introduce.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a recommendation in this resolution. If ratified, will provide a 5% increase in our hourly rate for Mr. Carroll and his colleagues at his law firm. I think it's a tremendous value, and I recommend approval of this resolution as submitted.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Certainly. Thank you. Welcome, council's consideration. Have a motion?
Second.
Dueling seconds there. Any discussion?
Good value. For excellent legal representation.
Outstanding.
I'm not infallible.
Nobody is.
But he tries hard. Roll call vote. Mr. Betts.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Strawn. Mr. Driscoll.
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler.
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all very much. And item 15.2, resolution 2026-12, authorizing execution of an amended real property exchange and cooperation agreement for the Lexington Courthouse Square Veterans Memorial Project. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. This is probably the last piece of the puzzle for the Courthouse Square renovation project, but effectively, as you know, the Veterans Memorial was moved over onto a separate piece of property that's owned by Rockbridge Partners LLC, John Adamson. And that was done on a handshake, but the county has moved their Veterans Memorial to that site, and they're effectively, Rockbridge Partners and Rockbridge County are effectively swapping their two parcels of land that were created through this process. And then Rockbridge Partners is going to donate to the city of Lexington the piece of property that where the Veterans Memorial was, which was a bit of a notch out of the Courthouse Square project. And so this resolution would effectively authorize us to accept that donation from Rockbridge Partners. As you know, the Courthouse Square project is tremendously successful and is outstanding and beautiful. So this is the final piece of the puzzle to accept this and finish this transaction. So I recommend approval of this action.
Thank you, sir. Welcome council's questions for the city manager or your thoughtful consideration.
I make a motion that we approve resolution 2026-12 regarding the courthouse property.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, would ask for a roll call vote. Mr. Ziegler,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Ms. Strawn,
Aye.
Mr. Betts,
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll,
Aye.
Ms. Alexander. Motion carries unanimously. It truly is remarkable to see the transformation in the past year with that project and the relocation of the Veterans Memorial. Truly remarkable. And I think it's worth noting for the record, there is I believe it's a World War I cannon that is adjacent, and that is I think the property of the proud owner of the real estate and the LLC there. So some people don't realize that that's separate and distinct, but a nice piece that's very attractive and adds to the warmth and the reality of the Veterans Memorial. So thank you to the folks that, I'm not sure who originally put that there, but Mr. Adamson's responsible for the rehabilitation and relocation of it there adjacent. Next item on the agenda is our closed meeting. And before Ms. Alexander reads us in, I'll just thank everyone for being with us. Do not anticipate that we'll be taking any action other than adjourning our meeting when we come out of closed session. But thank you for being here. There are things that we can help to make our community better, let us know. But otherwise, have a great night, and we'll look forward to seeing you at our next meeting. Ms. Alexander.
I move that Lexington City Council convene in closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A3 for the purpose of discussing the disposition of city-owned real property along Spotswood Drive and Waddell Street, or the public purpose where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the city's bargaining position or negotiating strategy, and pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for the purpose of discussing the performance of the city manager.
Second.
Nick has given a second. I need a roll call vote. Ms. Strawn?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Ziegler?
Aye.
Mr. Driscoll?
Aye.
Mr. Betts? Mayor Friedman?
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you. I went to a closed meeting.
Darn it. We were supposed to mention during the